My name is Jim Clark.
Okay, where are you from?
I was born in Colorado in the United States.
Okay, so I told you before, I'm gonna repeat it for the interview.
Okay.
We are students. This is gonna be a project for my English class, so the questions that I'm now going to ask you are gonna be related to art.
All right.
Okay, so we can start now. The first question is, how does fantasy art challenge the boundaries of imagination and reality?
Fantasy art?
Fantasy art. Could be fantasy literature, not just only visual. Could be music, could be cinema.
And what's the question again? How does it do what?
How does fantasy art challenge the boundaries of imagination?
I'm having a hard time connecting fantasy art with challenging the imagination. Art is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so fantasy art, I'm looking at fantasy art, and you're looking at fantasy art, and we're both asked to answer this question. And I would tell you, okay. Are you familiar with Hieronymus Bosch?
Familiar with
Hieronymus Bosch, the artist.
No.
No?
It doesn't sound familiar, yeah.
Well, Hieronymus Bosch, I would consider to be the absolute maximum for fantasy art. He has, I'm trying to remember, there's a triptych that he did. I can't remember exactly what the name of it is.
Yeah.
But it is just incredible, and I get really lost in there because it's really social commentary. It's not really fantasy.
He's using fantasy as a medium to talk about like these societal topics.
Fantasy art should be used for what? For social discussion or for?
Oh no, I'm just like trying to understand what the artist that you were talking me about do.
Well, you have to look it up. It's called Hieronymus Bosch.
Oranimus?
Hieronymus.
I'm gonna look for it.
He's
Okay.
Dutch, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
I don't have much of imagination.
Okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay, the next question, the second one, is what ways can fantasy art reflect personal experiences?
Well, I think Hieronymus Bosch is a perfect example of that because what he did was he made a really incredible fantasy art out of what he was living at his time. Sexuality, corruption, money, everything that was going on in the culture you can find in that triptych. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the next one is, how do different fantasy art styles, high fantasy, dark fantasy, steampunk, evoke distinct emotional responses in viewers? Maybe it's different for, Alice in Wonderland. It evokes you different emotions that, maybe something more dark, like a horror movie.
Oh, I love Alice in Wonderland.
Me too.
I'm not exactly sure how to answer these questions because I don't indulge much in fantasy, really. And I think that what you're referring to right now is fantasy art that you see so much online, right?
Like mainstream?
No, yeah, no, like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's what you're referring to, right? Is that the kind of fantasy art?
No, it's just we're talking about art in general in all of its forms. It could be mainstream art, like literally the examples that I mentioned, like Alice in Wonderland, or like
Yeah, but I don't see how you could ever construe Alice in Wonderland as being dark. I mean, it's another social commentary.
Yeah, it's another social commentary.
Yeah.
But the question was about how does the styles, the fantasy styles, could evoke different emotions. Maybe Alice in Wonderland could be a style like,
So
I
the
don't
question
know.
is, do they evoke emotions?
The different styles.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. Can you?
Well, if I'm watching, if I run across, I don't look at, I don't go out to look for fantasy art.
Yeah.
Okay? But if it comes across and I see it, if it's dark, I just switch away. I mean, I have
Okay.
no interest in. I'm fully familiar with the dark side.
Yeah.
It's very clear to me the way it manifests in the human psyche. And so, you know, I don't. It's not a question for me. I mean, so I don't even mess around with it. It's so. If I look at something fantasy, if it's joyful or it's looking toward a better future, or if there's some way that it can better humanity,
Yeah.
then yeah, I like it. I mean, I want to explore it.
Okay. I like your response.
Okay.
Um.
Finally, we're starting to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah. Okay. So there's only 2 questions more.
All right.
The next one is, how has evolution of technology influenced the creation and consumption of art? Oh wait. Oh, it's still recording. Okay.
Read
Sorry.
it to me again, please.
Yeah. How has the evolution of technology influenced the creation and consumption of art?
The truth is, technology, as well, especially AI,
Yeah.
we all have to remember that we all have our own filters.
Yeah.
We all see things in our own ways. It's based on our background. It's based on the way we were raised. It's based on the school we went to. It's based on if we went to church, if we were religious or not. And then there's another thing called epigenetics.
Yeah.
You know what epigenetics are?
Epigenetics.
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 Okay. For example, corruption.
Yeah.
Okay. A society that is corrupt, generation after generation after generation, converts into a genetic trait.
Okay.
You aware of that? Okay. So, nobody that's alive today, in my opinion, is able to divorce themselves from all those things. So AI is just a reflection of who we are.
Sure.
I mean, if it gets to the point where AI begins to program itself, then at that point they may be able to generate a different kind of art.
It's gonna recreate our own mistakes as society.
That's exactly right. So I don't think that technology. I don't think technology and AI really increases or decreases the consumption of art. I mean, somebody that goes out to consume art will judge it based on their own likes and dislikes, whether it's made by an AI program or it's a well-known artist.
Okay. Perfect. So the last question In what ways does fantasy art challenge traditional notions of beauty and aesthetics?
Well, I think it's very challenging, especially for someone that, I mean, if you land on something that challenges who you think you are and what you believe in, you just go, well, that's shit. I mean, I don't want anything to do with it, right? So I think, the fantasy art can be but any kind of art can be very challenging.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of art you get in front of it, and it gives you a really uneasy feeling. And it's not fantasy art. It's just art. I mean, there's art of all different kinds.
Yeah.
So you find yourself in a museum someplace, and you come up on a piece of art that moves you. It doesn't have to be fantasy.
Yeah.
So it can be very challenging. I mean, it makes you look inside, makes you take a deeper look outside.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I did a good job of not answering
You
your
did.
questions.
You definitely did. You did amazing answer. I want to thank you for your time.
Type in Hieronymus Bosch.
Hieronymus
HY.
Bosch. I'm just gonna